most people, right, think that buying a property, you can never go wrong, right? So we say that, yo guys, you know what, my first investment is going to be in a property. I'm going to buy a property and rent it out. Now, this is the trick that a lot of people fall into, or the trap that a lot of people fall into. First thing that I get is a buy property, then I should be sorted for the rest of my life. Now, let me paint a picture to you. There are some people that are buying, and most people actually, the first property that they're going to be buying would be an apartment. I saw an apartment in Denver, and it's nice, aesthetically pleasing and stuff like that, right? Cool, they buy the property for 1.5 million, right? 1.5 million, your bond, if you didn't put down any deposit, your bond, you're looking at around, what, 14,000. Now, levies become 2,005 because of the aesthetic that you like when you got there, right? Then you still, yeah, can you please just write it down, right?
Looking at our expenses.
You're looking at expenses so that you just don't forget. So we said that we bought it at 1.5 million. 1.5 million. We're buying it at 1.5 million. So from 1.5 million, we're going to be looking at your bond. Your bond, you're looking at 14,000 on a monthly basis. 14. Yes, 14. 1-4. Right? After bond, you're looking at your levies. Let's put your levies at 2,000. Right? Electricity, let's say you're spending 1,005. You're spending 1,005. You've bought the property. You get a call from your attorney, and they say that your property has been registered. You may do what you need to do. You go out, you rent the property, only to find out that properties in that area, right, they're only renting out for 12,000.
Guys, looking at the numbers that you have in there, what situation are you seeing?
You know, I just saw somebody saying 12,000, and they're like, yeah, the numbers don't balance here. When you're looking at how much you're actually spending already on your bond, you're looking at 14,000. But now, looking at the amount that you're getting on a monthly basis, you're only getting what? 12,000. Now, you're already making a loss. So now what they then come to you and say is that, no, property is a long-term game. You don't have to look at your profits right now. Guys, if you really think about it, people that are building these properties, they're also property investors. So if I'm a property investor and I'm selling off my property, chances are I've already put in my markup there so that I make a profit. Now, when you are coming through as an investor to buy this property, you already bought it markup. So it's like buying a suite for 2 rand and then going back home and saying that I want to sell the same suite. But you only find out that everybody's selling it for 150. It still doesn't make sense. So what we really need to understand is that at what price are we buying that property so that it makes sense looking at our bond. Whenever we're going to go into a property, there's a criteria that we need to follow. Because what we like saying is that you need to take out the emotions from investing, right? So if I'm saying that I'm going to be buying a property, it needs to follow a specific criteria, right? So I'll give you one of the things that we look at. Number 1, the property that we are buying. We need to be buying a property that's in a good neighborhood, but the property itself is bad, right? I'll give you an example. So say, for instance, if we are saying that market value of property in this area are selling for 1.5 million, right? I can't buy the property at 1.5 million because it's at market value. If it's at market value, it probably won't make business sense, looking at the rental income that I will be making, right? So now, if I go into an area, and now I'm saying that properties in this area are selling for 1.5, but now there's this one that's ugly, it was vandalized, there's no taps anymore. Hey guys, that thing is not funny. We've also been through a vandalized property, but it's fine. So we're looking at this property, it's vandalized, it's been neglected, so it's not in good shape. We are able to come through and say that, you know what, because you want to sell your property and no one's willing to buy it, we can buy it below market value. That's when negotiation comes in, right? So now, from 1.5, we check how much is it going to take for us to renovate the property? How much do we want in profits? Then we put all of those amounts onto the market value. So say, for instance, if everything adds up to 600,000. So we are saying that from the 1.5 million, we're going to minus 600,000. So our offer would then be what? 900,000. Now, if it's 900,000 and we are saying that we can actually rent out the property at 15,000, our bond is actually going to be around 9,000, 8,000. Now it's starting to make business sense. So what we're saying is that we are buying a property in a good neighborhood, but the property is bad. So don't make the mistake of saying that I saw this property, it was ugly, but now when you're looking at the neighborhood, everything is ugly. That won't make business sense. Now let's talk about bond, right? And a lot of people will say that, no guys, just buy cash, you don't have to worry about the bond repayments, right? Now, the thing that I want to really present to you is that if I'm able to get a loan from a property and I know what I'm doing, right? I know all of my expenses before I buy that property. Chances of the property not making financial sense are very slim, right? So now if I know that I can go into the market right now, buy a property for 900,000, right? Rent it out for 15,000 or more, and I'm going to be making a profit. Then my question is that why wouldn't I ask for a loan? Right? So now let's make an example, right? Let's make it practical. Say for instance I have 2 million right now and I'm deciding, should I be buying a property via bond or should I be buying the property via cash, right? On the cash side, yes, you own the property. You have the ownership. But as a property investor, with the properties that I'm investing in, I don't want ownership, I want control over the property. So control over the property basically means that I'm able to put in a tenant in that property, get money on a monthly basis from that property while I still have my 2 million in the bank. Now that 2 million is the one that I can say that, okay, if on the next property the bank is going to say that they want 30% deposit, I take from that 2 million, I put in a deposit on that one. So if I'm having multiple properties, say for instance, if we're saying that 500,000 each, that's 4 properties versus the 1 property that you might have bought. Now, the thing about bond is that you really need to understand what you're doing when you're buying a property. I'll repeat that again. If you are going to be investing in property in your lifetime, do not invest in a property if you do not know all of your expenses, if you do not know how much you're going to be getting for your rental. So the question that you had asked me is that why don't you just buy it via cash, right? To take out the bond. Was it the one? Yes. Yeah. So now, if I'm saying that I'm using cash, it is fine. I mean, some people religiously, they can't use credit, right? Now, if you're using your cash, the most important thing is that the inflation. Some people do use cash. They have 1 million, they put it into a property. But now when you're looking at the returns that they're getting 1%. Now looking at the cash flow giving you 1% and then also comparing it to inflation that was at some point 6%, it doesn't actually match up. You're actually losing money. You are better off putting in that money in the bank because now at the end of the day, if someone decides to move out, that's a vacancy that you have for that month, which means that that 1% is probably going to go down. So if you are going to be going the cash route, just make sure that you understand your return on investment and how that matches up with inflation.